In Peru, police repression left at least 11 people injured during a day of anti-government demonstrations in the framework of the third takeover of Lima. In Iran, the government threatened to break diplomatic relations with Sweden if another copy of the Quran was burned. This after the European Union authorized the burning of the Holy Book in its territory. And in Kenya, shops and schools reopened of ongoing anti-government protests. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. In Peru, police repression left at least 11 people injured during a day of demonstrations in the framework of the third takeover of Lima. Mobilizations continue after the goal for a third takeover of Lima that gathered different communities from the north and south of the country to protest against Dina Boluarte and the Congress of the Republic. About 3,000 people gathered in Plaza de Armas of Juan Cavilleca were members of the National Police threw tear gas bombs to repress the demonstrations. For their part, the representative of indigenous peoples assured that they will not stop the mobilization so that the voice of the people is heard. In Argentina, citizens held a vigil in Libertadora General San Martin City, province of Jujuy, to commemorate the disappearance of 400 people under the civil military dictatorship in July 1976. Between July the 20th and the 27th, 1976, the power cuts ordered by the LSM company facilitated the operation of the repressor that left 400 people detained, 33 of whom are still missing. The night of the blackout was one of the most serious and emblematic chapters that constitutes the civil cooperative responsibility during the Argentine dictatorship. It is expected that on Thursday the commemorative activities will continue in the midst of protests against the constitutional reform of Gerardo Morales. Social and human rights organizations, together with trade unions, senators, are carrying out different demonstrations for 7 years after this incident, at a time of strong repressive actions by the local authorities.
This year is 47 years in the military coup and 47 years since the night of the blackout, and 40 marches when the mothers began to walk around this square when the military was still in front of the town hall. So it is symbolic to be here. And today we were able to hold a workshop which has the name Gender Women Memory of Repression, considering what is happening today in our province, where we have persecuted comrades arrested, wounded, and teachers who have been fighting for 46 days. So, well, a symbol is to be here.
The president of Nicaragua, Daniel Ortega, highlighted the heroic deeds of the Nicaraguan people on the 44th anniversary of the Sandinista Revolution. During his speech, Ortega justified the decision not to sign the final declaration of the summit held between the European Union and CELAC. Ortega shared his reflection before a crowd gathered at the Plaza La Fe. Government delegations from countries such as Cuba, Russia, Iran, Palestine, as well as representations from China and other nations from Asia, Europe, Africa, and Central America also participate in the activities.
He found our country, our people in arms. This was a people in arms. The heart, the soul, the conscience in arms. We want peace. We fought against the tyranny imposed by the Yankees because we want peace. We want our people to free themselves from the extreme poverty of illiteracy, and we had to fight against the governor imposed by the Yankees here in Nicaragua because Somoza was nothing more than a governor imposed by the Yankees after the fulfilled the mission of assassinating Sandino, and the Yankees armed him, financed him, and he was a brother of the Yankees.
In Cuba, the first ordinary session of the 10th Legislature of the National Assembly of People's Powers began, where a military penal code bill is being analyzed. With President Miguel Díaz-Canel and the General of the Army Raúl Castro, the deputies debate a military penal code whose objective is to protect the rights and guarantees in the file of military service. On Thursday, the integral policy of care of children and youth will be analyzed in addition to the current situation of the energy systems of the country. Lawmakers will also address the performance of the economy in the first half of the year 2023. On July 19th, Mexico observed the 100th death anniversary of revolution hero Francisco Pancho Villa. Dozens of men on horseback parade through the city of Hidalgo del Parral in the southern part of north of the state of Chihuahua, where Pancho Villa was assassinated a century ago. He was ambushed and shot 16 times on his way to the family celebration. By the time he had already retired from the political life. The Mexican Revolution spanned from 1910 to 1917. Villa, whose real name was Jose Doroteo Arango Arambula, was one of its celebrated heroes along with Emiliano Zapata.
He is a hero here in Mexico because no one else had managed to stop the Americans at the war, only him, Pancho Villa. This is an important day year after year. There are more admirers of General Francisco Villa. There are horse riders here, and you can see that he is more alive than ever, because there are these people, including children, who admire General Villa. They remember him every day, even the children, and that's what makes me most happy.
Let's take our very first break, but remember you can now follow us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English. There you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. On Thursday, local media in the state of Arizona warned that the current heat wave poses a little threat to the homeless as the temperatures has been well above 43 degrees Celsius for at least 20 days. As Phoenix continues to break the heat records, the number of heat-related deaths is rising. On Wednesday, the Maricopa County Public Health Department announced that 18 deaths from extreme heat had been confirmed so far this year. Phoenix also broke the record of the warmest load ever recorded on any day at 36 degrees and marked the 10th consecutive morning with low above that lows 30s. So local authorities suggest wearing a wet towel or a shirt around the neck when outdoors during the day. Although there are also more than 200 cooling stations in the earth, homeless continue to target by the high temperatures.
When the sun goes down and I'll walk up the street to the store, about 6 blocks up. There's no way I can walk to the store right now. I won't make it. It's too hot. It's not enough. I don't have enough water or whatever I need inside of me because I've been homeless and being neglected through my nutrients. To walk to the store means death. And who wants that? That shouldn't be an issue here in America. Decide whether you should walk to the store or stay in the shade because you're gonna die.
It's really brutal, man. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, I seen a bunch of people pass out not too long ago, like barely yesterday. I seen some dude, some guy sitting down eating, and he just collapsed from the chair and just fell and started getting a seizure or going into a seizure.
In the U.S., a lawsuit was filed in a Texas court alleging that a strict ban on abortions prevents a woman who suffers from serious illness during pregnancy from getting an abortion. During the session, one of the plaintiffs in the case testified the abortion ban caused her to go into life-threatening septic shock, and additionally, the fetus was stillborn. She warned that many people are being harmed by similar restricted bans. The Center for Reproductive Rights, which filed the case, said the lawsuit is the first file on behalf of women denied abortions since the U.S. Supreme Court struck down the constitutional right to the procedure.
Today, we urge the court to block Texas's dangerous abortion bans, which have caused incredible suffering for people across Texas. For me and for them, this was a historic day. We believe that this is the first time that women denied abortions have testified in opposition to an abortion ban since Roe v. Wade was decided in the 1970s.
In New Zealand, authorities report a shooting that left 2 people dead in the city of Auckland. The police department reported that the incident occurred at a construction site on one of the city's main streets. The police detailed that a man, approximately 24-year-old, fired indiscriminately, killing 2 people and seriously wounded 6 others. The mayor of the city, Wayne Brown, expressed his condolences to the families of the victims and declared that this incident does not represent a threat to national security. Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, there you will be able to watch our interviews, top stories, visual broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up on date on the world's most recent events. We'll find out our break. Don't go away. Welcome back. On Thursday, the Iraqi government threatened to break diplomatic relations with Sweden if another copy of the Quran was burned. The government issued a statement after an emergency meeting chaired by the Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Sheikh al-Sudani, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Interior, as well as the head of National Security and the Army General Staff took part in the meeting. The government of Iraq also decided to accept the Swedish ambassador. The rise in tensions comes after Sweden's reauthorization of the burning of copies of the Quran. The government suspended working permits of Sweden's telecom company Ericsson on Iraqi territory. Earlier on Thursday, a group of demonstrators set fire to the Swedish embassy in Baghdad. This in the framework of demonstrations in protest against the burning of copies of the Quran in the European country. According to reports of social media, the demonstrators entered a green zone of the Iraqi capital, the embassy sector, and threw trunks inside the Sweden's embassy. Meanwhile, the Iraqi Foreign Ministry condemned the events and requested that acts offensive to Islam and the Holy Quran be avoided. In Kenya, shops and schools reopened on Thursday as the opposition continued its call for the anti-government protests. Kenya's opposition called to protest for a second day on Thursday over the high cost of living and tax hikes after a police clashes with demonstrators and arrested at least 300 people on Wednesday. Fever clashes flared in several cities, including the city of Kisumu, where police fired tear gas and lit around fleeing protesters. In this context, on Thursday, Kenya's President William Ruto accused the opposition of sabotaging the economy and calls on Kenyans to protect the peace on the second day of its anti-government protests. For his part, the veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga said Ruto's government is illegitimate and has blamed him for a cost of living crisis. Representative of BRICS reported that over 20 countries applied to join the group. because of its financial strength to have more flexibility and be less dependent on the dollar. According to South African ambassador to the organization, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Argentina, Algeria, Egypt, Iran, and Indonesia have formally applied for BRICS membership. The move could tilt the global powers from the west to the east, ushering in a new financial landscape. The BRICS bloc will decide on the expansion on the next summit in Johannesburg in August. During the opening of the 9th BRIC Youth Summit in Durban, participants called for gathering participation in decision-making structures. The summit is being held ahead of the 50th BRIC Summit. According to its organizers, the 3-day BRICS Youth Summit fosters cooperation and understanding among youth from Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The 9th BRIC Youth Summit opened under the theme BRICS and Africa, Partnership for Mutual Accelerated Growth, Sustainable Development, and Inclusive Multilateralism. We have come to the end of this brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram as well. For TeleSUR English, I'm from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.